Everybody, it's Tim, your good friend and Bible teacher today. Thanks for joining us. Glad you were able to do that on our journey through the Bible, Genesis to Revelation, in this year. Today, our reading was in Ezekiel chapter 14 to 16. And in chapter 16, especially, Ezekiel is focusing on the gifts of God. God is a giver. And aren't you glad for that? James said in James 1:17, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. In Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 3, he's looking at the origin of the Jewish people in Israel. He says, thus saith the Lord God unto Jerusalem, thy birth and thy nativity is of the land of Canaan, and thy father was an Amorite, and thy mother an Hittite. Interesting view of their past. But what the Lord was doing was just reminding the Jews who were there, still in Jerusalem, of the way that he founded this nation. They were not a people that were loved generally by this world, and he demonstrates it by an example of a baby that is unwanted, cast aside, left to die, unloved by anyone. But the Lord graciously takes up the child, nourishes and clothes it, raises it up to become someone of great beauty. That's the way he looked at his people of Israel. But then in verse 15 of this chapter, he said, but thou didst trust in thine own beauty, and playest the harlot because of thy renown, and pourest out thy fornications on every one that passed by. His it was. And of thy garments thou didst take, and deckest thy high places with diverse colors, and playest the harlot thereupon, like the things that shall not come, neither shall it be so. Thou hast also taken thy fair jewels, my gold and silver, which I had given thee, and madest to thyself images of men, and did commit whoredom with them. God is talking about how his people had taken all the gifts he had given to them and used them to worship pagan idols instead of him. This beautiful child becomes unruly, thinking that the attention the world is showing is because of its own beauty and doing, when really it's the Lord and his gifts that made that child attractive. How many times have we seen someone who really is talented, um, maybe far beyond what most people are, or could be cultivated on their own? And talents are so obviously given by the Lord in that case. And then that person uses those God given abilities that he or she has to go and entertain the world, and even feel they're not successful unless the world accepts them, lauds their achievements. Gospel music is a good example of this. Talented folks who, after beginning in a small church somewhere, are heard by a worldly crowd, and then they go and entertain somewhere, and soon they're so taken up with the false adulation and praise that comes with that kind of thing. A little bit what God is talking about here. Maybe even sadder is an example of a person who the Lord entrusted with a goodly amount of material possessions, possessions that he wants for the furthering of his work on this earth, and then that person becomes ungrateful, feeling that his own achievements have brought all this into his life, when really the Lord said, the silver is mine and the gold is mine, in Haggai chapter 2 and verse 8. Now, not everyone is to be poor. There is no merit in that, and there's no merit in riches. But the Lord uses money and people to accomplish his work here, and he trusts some people with an abundance of things. He allows it to pass through their hands. That's the way to look at it. And how sad it is when that person trusts more in things than in the Lord that provided the things. I think John Wesley is a good example of how to use money in the right way. Uh, he became well known and popular as a minister in his later years, and really a great deal of money came his way from people that entrusted him with it. But his attitude was that that money was given to him to be used in ministry, all of it. He looked at himself as nothing but a conduit to channel resources to where they were needed. In fact, he said once, if he died with more than 10 pounds to his name, you could call him a thief and a liar. Isn't that a great way to look at what God has gifted you in or given to you in terms of material things. It's all from Him, and it's to be used in His work, and that way it returns as a gift to Him. So let's remember today, Rick, will you, that all that we have is a gift from God, and it should be received with gratitude. It should be used for Him. Well, tomorrow our reading is also in Ezekiel, so stay in the Word, keep reading there. We're looking at Ezekiel chapter 17 to 19. Read those, and I look forward to being with you again very soon. Have a great day, folks.